Well, hello everyone out in the streaming world. You're with Flying with Mike here, and currently on the ground in Seattle. It's been off and on showers here today. We had some troubles with the live stream earlier, so we're going to just go record a run from Seattle to Kansas City and hope for the best. So this is the aircraft we plan to use, the MD-80. Used to be pretty big mainstay of many domestic fleets here in the U.S. I'm not even sure Delta has them anymore, but most of them have got rid of them. Also, Allegiant was a big one, picked up a lot of them from American and all of the ones sidelined. And they've finally sidelined all their MD-80s for maintenance issues that they were having all the time. Good thing for me that I work at an airport where Allegiant comes in and they used to maintenance all the time on us. But since they went to the Airbuses, that still happens, but not as often. But anyway, we're going from Seattle to Kansas City, Missouri, from the rain into the snow and icebox. So ought to be a fun flight while they continue loading bags, people, and cargo. Actually, yeah, they're loading people now at this time. Uh, we're going to go ahead and get on with the pre-flight brief here. And for that, we're going to switch into Sim Toolkit, and that will be able to provide us the information we need for that brief. So here comes Sim Toolkit, and go there, there, and there. All right, and there. And one more thing to do here. All right, so when we come out, we'll be where we need to be. All right, so here you are, folks, SeaTac Airport, as you can figure out in Seattle. We are located here. This blue guy is us here at Delta 5. Pretty much took this flight plan and flight from FlightAware, Alaska 478, and we're going to just fly it out. So uh, we'll basically taxi down either Alpha or Bravo to 16 left, take off, or I'm sorry, correction. Winds have changed here. We'll taxi down to 34 right, take off, rejoin our departure. So let me make sure things changed here because they didn't on the live stream or on the live map. My bad. All right, so here you can go with the flight plan. 34 right out of Seattle. Then we're going to go basically, it's a departure where you fly north. And then as you're high enough to, or vectored to clear the mountains that are to the west or to the east, my bad. And then you join the Juliet 90 out to Normie and then on to Moses Lake, KU06 Mike, KU87 Sierra, KD as in Delta 7Y Yankee, D Peak, Jason, Judah, and then in on the runway 9. Now that still looks doable. We'll see how that turns out when we get there. Currently, we're just going to deal with Seattle. They're at 432 feet above sea level. Runway 34 is a heading of 344.
ANCL traffic. American 135 is on a 4-mile final for runway 16 left.
Okay. Sorry about that, folks. We are on VATSIM, so feel free to join us if you'd like under the call sign Sim Air Force 18. Runway length is 11,901, and we do have a slope on the runway. And X-plane that we're flying with, version 11, X-plane 11. Actually, it's X-plane 11.52. They just had an update over the last couple of days and caught up with me yesterday, got all updated. Don't know what all they updated, I'll be totally honest with you, but The big thing that it used to always affect was our flying in Alaska with general aviation. So we'll see when we rejoin that a little later this month, next month, how things are up there. But anyway, that's what we got here on the ground here at SeaTac. Current weather 030 at 5, and he should be on the 3/4s. He's just being how he's set up when he took off, I'm sure. 10 miles of visibility. We got a few clouds at 2300, broken layer at 3400. Temperature a balmy 7 degrees Celsius. Uh, we would love for that here in St. Louis. That's in the 40s, maybe even in the 50s. Currently, we are probably 7 degrees Fahrenheit out there. No, I think we actually got up to 16. Tropical heat wave here in St. Louis. But anyway, moving on, dew point's 2 degrees Celsius. And heck, we'll even take that because that's close into the 30s. But anyway, altimeter now 3037. So there's our weather for where we're at. Loadout for today, we've got 3,100, 900. Let's try that again. 31,900 pounds. 130 passengers and 2,000 pounds of cargo make up that payload. We've loaded 31,636 pounds into the plane, little more than what we were scheduled for, just for some safety. All right, so let's move over to the other half of the spread of the sheet here. Again, Seattle, Tacoma to Kansas City. We're Sim Air Force 18, so if you're going to come up on VATSIM and fly with us, feel free to. I'm not sure how to do private channels now on the new stuff that VATSIM's put out for us, but our we don't have a cost index in the MD-80s, but our distance today of flying is 1,194.
In Seattle traffic, American 135 is clear of the runway.
So that is annoying, and I may have to disconnect just because of that. 1,194 miles. I'm double checking that against, how is it shorter? Anyway, it should be about 1,300 miles. Yeah, it should be about 1,296. So I'm not sure what happened on our paperwork here, but our GC distance and ground distances are right. Air distance is wrong. So, all right, our average winds, though, are about 313 at 45, and that's the whole trip averaged out. Here is our flight levels, 330. For the flight will be our cruise level. We may be able to go up to 35. We'll see how that works out once we get about 3/4 of the way into the flight, though. So I may just leave it there unless things improve and we can go up even higher. Fuel, here's our breakdown that we have here. Trip fuel, our I can't think of the name of the word. Hang on a second. Contiguous fuel, alternate to get to St. Louis, that is our alternate, and the final reserve of 3923. Block out, like I said, we're going with 31,000, almost 1,000 pounds more. It's not a lot of fuel in the breakdown of things, but it is just a little bit more than what we need, and it's a good idea. Again, if we need to go to St. Louis, here's our route. Here's our route one more time over to KMCI or Kansas City. Finally, our time for this is scheduled at 3 hours 25, estimating 3 hours and 25 minutes, scheduled for 3.5 hours. And then here's our weight breakdown. All right, one last thing to do here in the pre-flight brief. Here is our routing from Seattle to Kansas City. Alternate just barely on the map, Kansas City or St. Louis. So you get an idea how we're going to trek across the country. Next up is our significant weather, which is kind of moved a little bit to the east. We had all that turbulence and jet stream pretty much over Seattle when we tried the first time out while trying to do a live stream. That failed. Um, but now it's moved east, so we'll encounter it uh, into Washington, Montana, Idaho, Wyoming area. That is the jet stream cutting down, and we're going to be watching for light turbulence at up to the surface to 39,000. And then we got another jet and another jet. That's the same one hooking back up south of us here in St. Louis and Kansas City. Wind wise, at flight level 300. You can see those northerly winds most of the way switching into a little bit of a southerly turn. Boy, we could take that and get a nice warm up here. Oh, would that be so nice? But that may be this weekend. Unless, of course, all of this snow uh, creates what's called the refrigerator effect where it stays cold. But it will still melt. So there's 30,000. Now closer to our cruise, the 34,000 foot mark, you can see the winds are pretty much the same, maybe a hair stronger. And this is the area where we're looking at a potential climb to 35,000 feet. And then 39, which we'll never get up to in an MD-80. And then the vertical look at our flight going from here up. The winds are in our nose, which I think it's actually the other way around, but this chart I have a hard time reading. But the big thing I do know, this does show the terrain below us. These are the Rockies and Sierras falling off here into the Ozarks. All right, folks, so that'll wrap up the pre-flight brief. What we're going to do next here is first hop into the cockpit by doing this. And I'm going to have that on standby. Okay. We're going to get back into the cockpit. We're going to review the preliminary checks, flight deck checks, so that we're caught up, everyone watching the streams caught up to where we actually are with the plane ready to push back. So without further ado, here is what we did when we first came into the cockpit and it was cold and dark. First thing we did was went up to the top panel. Turn your battery switch on. Once that's on, go all the way up. Now what I do here is I'll click back out. Actually, I'll hit W, scroll all the way to the top. You'll see this panel here at the top, right there, this bottom switch. Move it down, will turn your external power on, which is this lighting here, and then you'll turn the left and right on once it's illuminated. Go to auto on your AC bus, and then turn a fuel set. If you flip, this is, by the way, the default, not the rotate version. So by default, you just flip one switch and they both go down. Then turn your start pump on. This is your APU master / start. So when you click it once, it goes to run. Click it twice, goes to start, and then you'll see the needles dial up, EGT dial up. Once you're stabilized, this will light up. Turn these two on. Oops. Turn those two on. And then turn your AP or your air on for the APU, which I had forgotten. Thought I did that. One too many. Okay. Again, make sure you're on the bus here. And make sure your APU gen is in norm here. From here, go back up to the top, turn that external power, turn the switches off here first, then go to the top, turn it off, and you don't have to deal with it. Okay, that's the initial cold and dark setup. What I would add to that is come back down to the co-pilot side, turn your position strobe light to position. It's the middle part of that three-way switch. So just click it there. That'll turn on your red and green, lets people know the aircraft is energized. Doesn't mean it's running. That's the next switch over that says anti-collision. That's your red lights. When those come on, expect it to either start or is running. Now, once you're at that point, now we go into a bunch of checks here to get ready to start up. Being, make sure the APU air is on. Make sure the galley is turned on. The emergency lights, you can't do anything with them here, so don't worry about it. The no smoking sign can go on. We're going to be fueling during this. And probably these MD-80s.
In Seattle traffic, American
Yeah, I'm
135
disconnected.
is at the gate and shut down.
We really didn't need to hear that, kid, but okay. All right, we're just going to kill it. I get real frustrated with VATSIM sometimes. But anyway, back to what we were doing. So we got the no smoking sign. What I was trying to say before rudely interrupted by American, um, these no smoking lights were probably switched over in the MD-80s when they went to the electronics on and off. So may or may not. I don't know. I try to steer clear of MD-80s as much as possible. And thankfully I can do that real easy now. All right, so then we make sure our pitot heat, which is called meter select and heat, is on captain. Then we go to the windshield anti-ice, which is actually anti-fog in this case. And we do our, we don't turn the engine ice on like it's asking. That is so weird. Stall test and Mach speed test. Okay, then we come down to the center panel here where your T handles are. First note here, if you're in, say you click W, which basically puts you in a default cockpit view so you can see out all, pretty fair amount, do not click this button. It is tied to this, and when you pull the T handles, even in real life, it shuts the engine fuel off and shuts the engine down. And when you're full of fuel, full of people, that's where that single engine speed comes in play big time, whether you'll stay in flight or not. And I had a hard time steering it. We had troubles keeping it in the air. So just a warning with the default aircraft, be careful with this switch. Because I did not click here, I clicked here and it turned it off. However, had I been in this mode, looks like it wouldn't have been a factor. So note to self. Then we make sure the yaw damper's on. I actually turn it off. And that's just makes it easier when we're taxiing if I want to take pictures of the airplane outside. The rudders are lined up and everything. Then we file our flight plan into the system. To do that, we just come back down, too far, and click on one of the FMCs. Now, when you come into the plane, it's going to look like this. All you got to do is click, what did I click? Got a big aircraft coming over. But anyway, click Route Menu. Now, if you were using SimBrief Professional Flight Planner and you sent the flight plan to the aircraft, you would click Company Route List. If you're going to type it in, and this isn't a real long flight plan, you just click here, then click here. Type in your origin, type in your destination, type in your flight number, and that can be whatever you want, what you're going to use on VATSIM, POSCON, whatever. It is not pulled on any of those networks from there. Once you've done that, come down to departure arrival, find your airport you're departing from. Here's KSEA, click depart, and then all you have to do first is select your runway. You won't be able to select these in the default, or at least I can't, until you have a runway. Now, many of the FMCs out there, many of the MCDUs, which is what Airbus calls them, um, uh, have them set up, and in the real life too, that when you select the runway, now if you're at an airport where they have a boatload of standard instrument departures called SIDs, and some of them are for runway 1, some are for runway 19, some are for 9, some are for 27. Pick your runway numbers. When you select the runway numbers, the FMCs will sometimes just give you the ones valid for your runway. Be careful, make sure you get the right one. Coffee is always good. But anyway, in this case, we're not using one. Now, technically, we would probably think about the Seattle 7, but all the Seattle 7 departure are straight outs, depending which side of the airfield you're taking off on. If you're taking off on the north side south on the 16s, you're going to fly runway heading till you can clear the mountains to the east or to the west. Or if controllers are up, whenever they tell you to turn. If you're going to the north on the 3-4s, same thing, runway heading, turn once you can clear, or pretty close to clearing the mountains, and then head on to your course. In the case with VATSIM today, we don't have any controllers. Um, so we're pretty much the ones, the keeper of how we're going to get out of here. So we're just going to fly, selecting runway 34 right. Click flight plan below, brings you right back where you started. Type in SEA for Seattle, and then all you got to do is click next page. Type in the airway on this side, clicking, you'll type it down, you'll see it show up here. Click this line select key, it'll go there. Type in where you want, where that ends in your flight plan, and you get that flight plan again from what you set up for your trip. So we would put MWH in here, shows up here, click this button, shows up here. And then we do the same for, because this one's just pretty much fix, 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 fix. So then once we're done, we click VNAV, and it's a very simple one here. Climb. Now this is usually going to say 250 to 10,000. I try to back it off to 240, hoping the plane will do what I tell it, knowing that I've got to still watch it like a hawk, because more than likely it won't. So, but anyway, that's telling it to go no faster than 240. FAA rules state 250 below 10,000 feet, no faster, indicated. So if your airspeed indicator shows 260, you're going to probably hear from ATC slow to 250. And you may have you call them as well once you get on the ground. But anyway, that's not going to happen in VATSIM because we're not going to call them. All right, so that gives you the rundown. And once that's programmed, folks, we move on. We get our air conditioning set up and pressurization. Those panels are here. We air conditioning, we've got set to cabin supply, captain or cockpit, and cabin to auto. Air supply for now is at auto. It'll go off for engine start before we turn it back on. All right. And then we move down to the middle again, turn our flight directors on, and you'll see the little flight director crosshairs come up. Then we enter our speed. V speeds for today, and you can see that I've got our indicated airspeed indicator going here with them. 145 for V1, that's your decision. That's when you're going to actually pull the plug on your takeoff if something goes on. If you get above that speed, it's a go, means you go for takeoff. unless something catastrophic happens, like say for instance, both engines flame out. Well, then you're going to have to try to stop it because you're not going to fly and come back around. Um, so that's what V1's all about. More than likely, before you hit, in our case, 145, you'll already know if you're rejecting. Um, so just so you know that. V rotate is 149. Now that's when we'll start pulling the nose up and eventually get off the ground. 155, that's called V2, and that's when we should be 50 feet in the air over the end of the runway. A lot of planes are that's, a lot quicker. So they'll be hundreds of feet above. Okay, so then what we set here, and I do take that V2 number, which in this case is 155, and I add 10 to it. So I just roll this up to 165, and that's what I try to stick the plane at on the climb. At 1500 feet, then we nose over and we allow it to accelerate up to, in this case, 240. We'll get into why I'm set at 345 instead of 344. And it's not because I was lazy and didn't want to knock it down 1 degree. The standard departure is 345. And we'll get into that. We'll do the brief here shortly. 33,000 is what we're climbing to, so we're set there. And bank angle. Now, what I do with the bank angle, and that's this 30 to 10, and that's the bigger thing here, I back it off to 25 degrees. That way, when we make our turn on takeoff, we're not going to hear bank angle, bank angle, bank angle. It's going to be a lot of stuff happening at once, and it could nose us a little down, which we don't need with 8,000, 9,000 foot mountains over there. So I prefer to, air safe and back off 5 degrees so we don't get that. VH navs are set. This is Seattle VOR. This is not useful right now. We can't really do cross fixes. So and positions, strobes are on position. Altimeter set to 30. I think we need to come down one. Wish I could see that needle's right in the way, and there we go. All right, that is not the airfield elevation. That's what we'll set it to, though. And now we'll start with the departure brief. So stand by while we get things going. And like I said, it'll be the departure brief. Okay, folks, we're back now. Just making sure we weren't paused. We are going to continue with the departure brief now. And to do that, let's bring over Sim Toolkit. And I'm going to make it just a bit bigger so y'all can see it here. There we go. All right. So for the departure brief, let's bring up NavGraph. Now, the program you've been seeing me use, Sim Toolkit, this is a free program overall with exceptions for a couple of things. NavGraph, which I just pulled up, which is what we're going to use for the departure brief, that's a service outside of Sim Toolkit that you would use for like your charts and updating your FMSs, FMCs, McDo's. That's what you would update the nav data with. That costs, but you can couple it into Sim Toolkit. Also, for a lot of you out there, the active sky weather. If you don't like the default weather they depict on here, you want your active sky on here, there's a way to do it. That, of course, costs you to have active sky for flight sim, but it doesn't cost to add it to Sim Toolkit. So that's what, and the same thing with NavGraph. You already have it for your flight simming, but when you get Sim Toolkit, you can incorporate them right in. There's no charge to incorporate them. You just have to have them to start with, but they're not necessarily needed. Now you won't get charts unless you use fly strictly in the US with SkyVector. Those are free. Those come up at just about every North American airport. Strike that, every US airport. But if you get NavGraph, you get the world. So just so you know that. All right, so let's get into this departure brief. Now again, we're sitting here in Seattle. Let me zoom this in a little bit. Okay, so this is coming from a Jepson chart. Effective date 31 December 20, last right at the turn of the year. Page 20-9 shows where we are. Right here, that's where Delta 5, we'll show you that. Um, uh, Frequency on the ground is 121.7. For us, the tower will be 119.9, and departure 120. 120, no, I guess 126.5. We'll find out if it's on the chart for the departure. But anyway, this shows our routing. What we're going to do is pull out, come out on Bravo, all the way down uh, to the end, get on 3-4 right, go. All right, and here's where we're actually parked. There's Delta 5, so we'll push back facing, we'll call it south, and then taxi around. We might take Whiskey all the way down, but I think Bravo's what's preferred. Okay, and then come up on the taxi lead to the end of the runway. All right, now, again, we're not flying this SID. However, it's a good reference map. That's why I use it. Okay, so okay, hang on, it's not, see, there it goes. Okay, so for 3-4 right, we're going to climb on a heading of 3-4-5. Remember, that's what I set my instruments to. And using the 341 radial off of Seattle. We're not going to do that part. We're just going to fly 345. And once we are safe that we can clear 7,800, 8,900, 9,400 when we come around, we're going to probably be in the clouds or just coming out. And we don't want to hit one of those granite cumulus clouds. Granite cumulus being a mountain in a cloud. So that's why you want to make sure you're usually at 5,000 to 7,000 feet before you make that turn. So that way you've got a good shot of clearing them. So like I said, it's always a bad day when you hit a granite cumuli because they don't give way like a normal cumulus cloud does. So again, Seattle, this has our departure 119.2, elevation 432, and transitions at 18,000. Those transition levels are set. They're 18,000 all over the U.S. Where those come into play, Europe, Far East, Middle East, Australia, New Zealand, everywhere else but here. You could find countries within a continent, one's this number, one's that number. Significant differences. So that takes care of our departure out of Seattle. Again, here is our flight routing. And you can see how it's cutting through what centers and all of that. They've got that nicely delineated, as well as VATSPI over here, which I'm just checking to see if anything's changed. It does not look that way. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and come back up on VATSIM, file my flight plan, Actually, I should look to see if my time's changed. Yes, it did. We'll go with it. 2115. Let's go with 220. All right, so 2120. All right, so we are pretty much completed with the departure brief. Again, recapping, V1 speed will be 145. Rotate 149. 145 is V2. And again, don't follow this chart that has us going this way. We're going to be going up that way. All right. Clear this off. All right, so let's move in to our before start checklist. And we're going to show you some things now on the MD-80 default. For you guys that, fly rotate, this may be identical. I doubt it. But a lot of people ask me, how did you get that door open? How did you get that air stair to lower? We're going to have to show you now, because the first step in before start, our doors and hatches closed. Okay, first off, we can close the cargo doors. That's an easy thing here in the default MD-82 for X-Plane. Right here, our cargo door switches, boom, boom, boom. They're closed. Unfortunately, they don't do the same for the rest. That's a little more tricky. And if we come over here, I'm going to swing over to the other side of the aircraft where the cargo doors are. You can now see they're closed. There's 3 of them. There's one here, here, here. All right. Now we still have the air stair. We still have the service door open and main door open. So to do that, we come in. Well, let's first come into the cockpit. I have this preset so I can go here. You basically turn around in that center look and walk out the cabin just by moving your arrow forward. And then, boom, you turn it to look out the main door. First off, let's turn it. Let's get the service door closed. Okay, and it's closed. That's all we got to do. Then let's come back. Since this is one of 2 uses, and like I was telling folks on the stream, I'll say it here. I know one which is true, but I'm not sure if what they tell me the primary reason is right or not. They say it's a way of help cooling the APU. I don't buy that one, but I mean, they're trying to sell it, so we'll let them have it. My thinking is emergency exit. So there's a long tube, and that's another way out of the plane. So to get the air stair up, since we're ready to go, click down at the bottom, and then you just click up at the top here, or where are there? And that'll close the door. We're going to stop here. Air stairs up. DB Cooper switch installed. You can look that up on Google to find out how and what that is. It's a very expensive part, bought from the hardware store. Maybe $1. It's just a switch they turn on the outside of the plane that prevents it from coming down, and it doesn't go through it just rolls right over it. So they can't open it in flight, and DB can't jump out with his money. All right, so we're going to go back here. Now that we're loaded, let's close the main cabin door so the jetway can pull away. Okay, now we're back in the center. Okay, so what we're going to do, fuel levers. Oh, that's these. Fuel lever 1 for engine left, engine right. They are both in the off position. Throttles closed, flaps up, spoilers down and detent. VHF comms. 122.8 is VATSIM's Unicom channel. 123.45 is a guard channel. for emergencies, and this is the emergency channel 121.5 monitored, and 122.95 is just another Unicom. Okay, coming down through the radios, transponder is set to 2000. Now, in order to get the engines to start, you've got to make sure the crossfeed pneumatic valves left and right are up. If they're not, you're not even going to turn the engines over. FMC is set, hydraulic pumps on. And again, if you have the rotate MD-80 version for X-Plane, these switches will probably all work. Just this one works. And then GPU is disconnected before start checklist completed. All right, so let's move on while we're getting the pushback vehicle here. If you're new to X-Plane and you're not sure what do I need for X-Plane, two big programs. Better pushback, which we're about to show you, and terrain radar, which works great in the 747s, 737s, especially Zebo and the Sparks mod, and so forth. So in this plane, we don't have terrain radar, so it is what it is. So let's get the pushback coming. We come down here under plugins to better pushback, and we pre-plan it. Hang on a second. Delete. All right. Delete just gets rid of our last plan. And what we're going to do is face towards the south. And then we're going to click and then enter.
All right, Captain. Got the directions. Let me know through the menu when you're ready.
Okay. Now, what he's asking for is when we're ready, give him a notice. Start pushback.
Great news, Captain. Your tow's coming.
The only, if you could, and I'm sorry, I don't even have a time telling you this is a bad thing. The only thing that's weird about this program, there's your pushback. He'll drive through buildings, drive through vehicles, drive through jetways to get to you. Many pilots will say, oh, thank God someone cares about us. Okay, little unrealistic, but still, he's going to lift the nose wheel up, push us back. So let's get into that before start, or push and start while he's getting set up. Again, second check. Make sure these pneumatic valves are up. This is the up position. Pushback clearance, he's in the process thereof. Let's get the anti-collisions on. That's these. That's now
All
the red
right.
lights.
Looks like the doors and hatches are closed and we're ready to connect.
Transponder code set. And we're on transponder. Forward and aft pumps on. We have fuel in the center. You can guarantee we'll have those on too. Ignition system. We're going to go to A on even days, odd days. Wait a minute. I think I said it backwards. Odd days, we go that way. Even. It's kind of like when you go east, you're on odd. Wait a minute. Yeah, odd. West, you're going even, or however that is. I've got my chart over here I'm not looking at.
Welcome aboard, Captain. Tow's connected. Bypass pins inserted. Go ahead and kill the parking brake when you're ready to go.
We'll be right with you. All right, so we got the ignition system on. Turn the air conditioner off. This is where I said we would move this to off to start up. And we're going to go through it here real quick, how we do an engine start in this plane. Okay, so once we're pushing back, first off, of course, make sure your start pump is on. Next, make sure your fuel is on. Make sure your air is off and those pneumatic valves are on. Now, and an ignition system on. We'll start up the right side first, then the left side. So what we'll do is open this, hold the switch and the down, just hold on it. And we're going to be watching this gauge right here. That is our N2 for the right engine. When it reaches 20, we're going to then come down to this fuel lever, move it on, and that'll start the engine up. Continue the start process and actually light it off. That's what we're hoping for. Alrighty, so let's light them up like he said. Well, he's going to say that here in a minute. The MD-80 parking brake. It's in a weird spot. It's right here in the tiller. I don't know if that's real or not. It's been way too long since I've been on the cockpit of one of these. We just click it.
Here comes the pushback. Light them up.
And there's that voice, when you hear it, will say light them up. All right, so here we go. Trying to get as much as we can see here. Again, this is the value we're watching. And you can see it climbing. We're reaching 10. Got to get to 20. 18. And there's 20. Come down, hit fuel start number 1. We should be seeing everything coming up. Now I can zoom in. Up, we didn't light off. Everything's coming down. Okay, well, let's try again. I didn't, maybe make sure everything's the way it should be. Up and up. Okay, let me do it this way. Air supplies are off. Start pump, fuel pumps are on. We'll give it a shot again. Wait. All right.
Just about done here. Go ahead and set your parking brake.
He's going to have to wait. And if it goes to 21, which is what we're going to do, don't worry about it. Okay. There we go. We got a light off. Okay, and the reason you can tell, numbers gain here, numbers keep going up here, and numbers on your N1 go up. We'll get that parking brake now.
And we're disconnecting the tow. Give me just a moment.
Sorry for that sniffle in your ears. It's a pain in the rump to start this plane. Another reason I don't like it. But we have a friend that really likes seeing it in the air, and we're flying routes that he's given us, so we'll use this aircraft for it. Okay, we are now stabilized. He's definitely going to have to wait. Hang on, let's pull out a little. Okay. Now we're watching the one to the left of it. See it spooling up? It's right now at 12. And if we can get a good light off here, reason being they may have to pull us in. Okay. Just watching. Good light off. Okay. There he is pulling away. Okay, and we are stable. Fuel levers are on, so...
And we're disconnected. Signal and pin on the left. Take it easy and have a safe flight.
All right, sir. We appreciate your service, and thanks for flying with Mike. All right, and as we watch him, I kind of always like this. He'll stop somewhere over there. And then get out to show us the pen. And we're good to go. All right, so continuing on with the after start checklist. So we're going to go up top, up top here. Ignition system to off. Air conditioning supply to auto. And continuing left and right engine protection, we're going to go ahead now and turn that on. That is these two down here. Fuel heat, we do not have flaps. Come down to here. Whoops, went too far, always do. Let me get a visual here. I think I'm where I need to be. There we go, flaps 15. Auto brake, that'll be all the way down here. Set to reject takeoff. And again, check your pneumatics, make sure they stayed up. Transponders on, frequency's good. Okay. All right. Speed brake. We're not going to arm it. Sorry, that doesn't work. I know probably in the real world they do. We don't in the fly, and maybe in X-Plane it should be. I'm not taking that chance. Want to look here. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is a flight control check. Pretty simple. All we're going to do is move them left, right on the ailerons, up, down, or forward, back on the elevator, which is basically down and up. The nose would go down, forward, up, going back, and then the rudders. Those are controlled at your feet. All right, so left aileron, right aileron. Okay, elevators. This would take the nose down. This would take it up. Okay, left, right on the rudders, left, right on the rudders. Now, when we're doing the rudders, the tiller's moving too. That is our nose wheel steering on the ground. What you see right here around the parking brake, that is our nose wheel steering. Okay, and just to look outside, rudder, aileron, spoilers come up to help with the turns, and elevator at the top. Okay, these are your anti-collision lights. Let me just swing around, give you a little quick tour for those. We had a guy on the live stream, enjoyed learning a little bit about the lights. So did I. I learned a couple things. I think it's called floodlights. They're these lights in the middle, nacelle and wing lights. This is for checking for ice. Navigation lights. Your strobes come on right here, and these red lights up and down, that is your anti-collision. So, and this is a nice look of the aircraft before we get taxiing. All right, so back into the cockpit. Nose lights on. Okay, quick flash so they know we're ready to go. Taxi checklist complete. Next checklist we'll do is when we reach the end of the runway, and we'll do our before takeoff check. Until now, folks, we're starting to move out here. I say cautiously, there we go. And we'll turn that taxi light on here in a moment. And basically just try to keep it. A lot of people say you want to taxi at a speed, walking speed, which is really slow. But just remember, you don't stop on a dime in these planes. Really, in a car, you should be more careful in neighborhoods. You don't stop on a dime, folks. And those kids that are playing that run out after a ball, guess what? You're going to go splat. That's my trucker and me telling y'all, slow your butts down. There isn't anything that's that much in a hurry to get to. Matter of fact, I can't think of anything. Even firefighters need to slow their butts down. You don't need to do 100 mile an hour on the interstate to get to a burning car. It's going to burn. And it's not going to go any faster if you try to think you're going to get there faster at 100 mile an hour into a ditch. And same thing for police officers. But I'm not getting into my tirade on that. There was a bad police involved crash. He got away with it, killed 2 girls, and he basically got away with it. So yeah, slow your butts down, officers. You don't need to do 100. It's not NASCAR out there to get to an emergency. Oh wait, the emergency was terminated long before the crash, and yet he was still hauling butt. But anyway, like I said, we're going to stay off that tirade. Because I really do respect police officers. I know they have a hard job, but they need to think sometimes before they put their foot in the floorboards. Do I really need to? All right, folks, we'll join you at the end of the runway, so that way I can definitely make sure I get off that tirade. So we'll see you at the end of the runway. It's a little bit of a taxi. All right, folks, we're back with you, holding short 3-4 left here. Winds have now gone calm, and we got an aircraft taking off the opposite direction. We'll be rolling here shortly for the runway. In the meantime, we'll kind of keep an eye in that direction. Yes, no, maybe. See if I can get rid of this thing. Nope. And that's the UPS 3611. All right, so back into the center for the before takeoff checklist. Warning lights. Yaw damper is on, so let's turn that off. I'm sorry. Get that turned on. Lights are off. Fasten seatbelts are on. Landing lights and strobes, we'll turn those on as we enter the runway. Strobe first, then the lights. Annunciator panel, we've done the takeoff briefing. It is complete. Recap real quick. V1 is 145. V rotate 149. V2 155. And our climb out will be 165.
NCO traffic UPS 3611, taking off runway 16 left at Seattle, UPS 3611, hit Seattle.
All right, that's what we're waiting on. And then we have our heading set for 345. climb out to 33,000 feet. And then once we reach about 6,000 feet, we'll bank to normie to go direct normie and then on as filed. Flaps are set at 15 and continuing on. APU can now be turned off, so we'll go back up to the, whoa. Oh, that's why. My bad. I was thinking I was in a 747. Different ways my window keys work. Okay, so there we go. The gens are turned off. The air is turned off. And APU is turned off, and you can see them spooling down. Okay, one last time we check to make sure these cross feeds are on, and they are. Okay, coming up to the top, we'll go back into, let me check something here real quick, folks, and I do beg your indulgence here. Okay. Override. Okay. The reason I had to take that pause, it doesn't really say in my
Seattle traffic,
checklist.
get into 2500 taxi and out from cargo 3 on the north side for runway 16 left departure Seattle.
There goes override. And we are ready to go. Otherwise, we might sit here a while. Let's see how things look in that direction. Make sure he's not to the runway yet. Seattle traffic, Sim Air Force 18, departing runway 34 right. Come on. Here we go. We're on the runway. Get those strobes going. All right, folks, we're about to get out of here. Hopefully he doesn't take the runway on me. They notoriously do. So we'll back. Okay. Can't believe it went like that, but all right. All right, so here we go, folks. Okay, airspeed's alive. Let's see if we don't crash it this time. I'm really wanting to get this flight to Kansas City. Okay, coming up. V1. Rotate. gear up.
Seattle traffic, get under 2500, departing runway 16 left, straight out, departure southbound, Seattle.
All right, let's try this. Okay. All right, folks, we are climbing out, and if I could just get my speed to where I want it. Let's get some flaps up. All right, we are now through 3,300 feet, folks. Gear is up. We can't turn it off. We're only doing 800 feet a minute. Why? Oh, no, we're not. Okay. And let's get some more altitude as we hit the clouds. Not really sure why we're showing that.
Seattle traffic, get under 2500, clear the area to the south, Seattle.
Really weird. All right, let's do the after takeoff checklist. Above 400, set roll. Above 1,000, lower to 10 degrees. We're climbing out at a fairly decent rate. Autopilot's engaged, auto throttle's on. Flaps, we have begun to retract. And they are up. They are up. Ignition system to off. And auto brake should be off and is. Aux will leave the hydraulics on after takeoff checklist complete. We are now 8,000 feet, so what I'm going to do is first get rid of the control wheel in front of me. Threw it out the window. All right, we'll make a turn. Maybe. All right. Boy, I really hate this thing sometimes. Here, let me try this. Let's see if it works better in the middle. Okay, we've got almost 10,000 feet. So we're going to go with the lights off. Okay. All right, folks. Sorry if I was a little quiet there. Get a little frustrated with, I don't fly this airplane very much, so I get frustrated with it. Plus, I get frustrated that I chose 1.6 and or 3.4, because that's the way the winds were showing, and everyone's still coming in on the 1.6s. Kind of aggravating. But it is what it is, I know. Okay. All right, so now we are going to go. Let me try something here. Oh, I'm going to need to do it this way. Okay. See if we're going to change. We're now climbing out. 310's what we need to be at, and it's nowhere near it. Okay. Okay, here comes the speed right here. And the other thing we can't set are our EPRs up here, and I don't have any programming to help me in setting those, but that would have been nice if that could have been put in. A little bit more advanced than most pilots know. Sorry about that, needed a quick drink there. Okay, so we're above 10,000 feet. We'll keep the seatbelts on. Runway wing turnoffs are all turned off. Transition altitude we'll set to 29 or 2992. When the center tank empties, we'll turn that off. And we're going to move the bank limit now to 15. Cruise checklist, well, we're still climbing, but folks, we are on our way. Here's a nice look of the bird. And no, not the one finger salute, but the aircraft taking us to Kansas City. Unfortunately, looking below us, you cannot see any of the territories there, of the mountains of the Sierras or anything like that. But folks, we will meet you at cruise, and well, we'll stay with you up till cruise. Hang on, let's see where we're at here. Got a good climb rate in place. Are we a direct normie? I don't think so. I think we're going direct now. All right. There we go. We'll set our heading to that, and we're on our way, folks. Don't ask me if I even knew, because I had no idea we weren't on course. Just like I thought it said, we were on a range of 80. It doesn't put numbers out, so I can't even verify that. It's already wanting to turn on course. All right, folks, we are on our way. And the good thing about this flight, which will make most happy, we did not crash. And you're starting to get a little view of the mountain ranges out here. I really like X-Plane for the way the scenery looks. The mountains are just phenomenal. They're like FSX when you add in the Orbix regional sceneries. It just really brings out the mountains with Orbix. Well, this, folks, is default. So phenomenal job. Kudos to X-Plane. And you deserve every bit of that. Okay, we're now turning on course. Going to 80. And I don't think we can put TCAS on here. No, we cannot. I think it's either on. Let me make sure. Yeah, I think it's already on in the default. So, all right, folks, we are now direct Blewett. And then we are now joining the J90, Juliet 90 airway to Blewett, then Moses Lake, and then on to our different fixes into Kansas City. We're coming up on transition. I'm going to kind of zoom in. Let's do it with this one. Come back over. Actually, it's going to need to go up over it a little bit. Okay, and there's 18,000, so we're going to start dialing it back. Went too far. There we go. Head over to 3, which will be the other one. All right, there we go. We are now full. Oh, this one has our TCAS. Let's see if I see that on the other side. Oh, and here we go. One thing I hate about X-Plane. Let me try it. Let me get her climbing again. All right. But now we're over the mountain ranges. We're going to get outside so you all can see this. And that, folks, is eons ahead of FSX. Now, the new Flight Sim 2020, that's probably under, behind what they've done with the new Microsoft. From what I've seen, it looks more real than you see here. I was trying to think how to say it grammatically correct. And I probably still blew it. So, but anyway, there's our bird in the air. November 972 Alpha Sierra. It's an MD-82 default to X-Plane. We are on our way through 20,000 feet on up to our cruising altitude of 3,000. So enjoy, folks, and we'll keep this going until we get to cruise, and then we'll join you at the arrival brief, and then the descent into Kansas City. But right now, for now, as we continue our climb, we'll play some music here and go from there. All right, folks, we're through 23,000 feet, and we'll see you at top of climb. And then once we get over to where we'll do the arrival brief. So for now, uh, we'll see you at the top of climb. All right, folks, we're back with you. We're slowly closing in on our climb, our speeds here. See if that's setting us up or not. Oh, it's supposed to be going by this. Okay, it seems to be now. Little things go, that make you wonder in this sim world. So, alrighty, so we are climbing out. We're about 3,000 feet away from top of climb. And we're running through the cruise checklist one more time to make sure we've got everything taken care of. We climbed out at 310. We're now on Mach of 7.74. Seat belts are going to go ahead and get turned off now. And I call this the electronics sign, so we'll turn those off as well. Landing, runway turnoff, and wing lights are all off. That are all three of these switches. As we go to this side, all of these are turned off. Okay. At transition level, we set 29902, which we did. Center tanks still have fuel, about 3,800 kilograms in them. Remember, hang on, let me zoom into this so you all can see. It says fuel quantity, kilograms. So realize, double the number. That's what's actually in there. So about 7,600 pounds, somewhere in that ballpark, maybe a little more, a little less. All right, let's see here. Going back out to bank angle is 15 and radar checks complete. We can't do anything with the radar here, folks, so we go with whatever's set. And that is our climb and cruise checklist being completed at about 2,000 or so feet away from topping out here. Now let's take a look again outside the plane. And music in the background is brought to you by Pretzel Rocks. It's a copyright-free service. You see it kind of waving and bobbling. That's something I don't like in X-Plane. The least in FSX, 99% of the aircraft stay at what you set them at. Not in X-Plane. They bounce up and down like that. All right, we'll keep the music going till we can finally reach top of climb. And I know we're reaching, she's heavy. That could very well be why. It should have probably been 31,000 to start with a chance of 33,000. I know MD-80s are not known for taking the skies. And if they are, well, I didn't know that, but I never seen one grab sky. It always stayed low 30s. All right, so there you go. We're over western Washington State, I believe. Let's find out. All right, can't really tell on that map. I really can't tell, but we're probably in the western part of the state as we're trying to get up the top climb in about 800 feet. And that's if it actually stops. Should, but should is a word we love to use in X-Plane, but for me, always blows through it, keeps climbing, and I have to work it down. Okay. About another minute or so, it should be at 33,000 feet if it maintains this standard climb rate. Everything looks good here. Flaps up, spoilers down, trim just all over the place like always. That's why I can't even look at it. Okay, there comes 800. $900. It should begin to level off and stay if everything is gonna go right. Other than incrementally work it into 39,000. I'm sorry, 33,000. Okay. Let's set our cruise. We are set and in cruise. All right, folks. Let's take a look one more time outside at the airplane. Back over the clouds like usual. And folks, we'll see you over at in a couple of hours into this flight or so. We'll do the arrival brief and then take it into Kansas City on the descent. So for now, thanks for flying with Mike, and we'll be back once we reach the about 300 to 200 miles from top of descent to do the arrival brief. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll be back on the video here in a few moments. Okay, folks, we're back. We're going to get into the arrival brief. We're about 400 or so miles out, but we can go ahead and start into this. For the arrival brief, we just need some toolkit up here for you. And we'll make it the full page. Okay, so looking at Sim Toolkit here, give you an idea. You can kind of see where the top of descent is, so you can see the distance covered. We're just getting through the Denver, Fort Collins, pushing towards the Kansas state line. So we're getting close. So for this arrival brief, let me just push this button here to center it. There we go. We're going to get into, and basically all there is to it is an ILS approach. There are no stars for the direction we're coming in. So for the ILS here, runway 9, we're going to zoom in. There's still no ATC up along our route here on VATSIM. I say this and the chart doesn't want to move. There it goes. Okay, so we're on a Jebsen here, valid. Effective 7 December, but it looks like 2017. Should be still pretty good to use. All right, so across the top, we have our ATIS. Well, first off, we're jumping ahead just a little too quick. Let's get the weather here for the Kansas City area. We are right now wind 090 at 6, perfect for our selection of runway 9. 10 miles visibility. The sky is overcast at 2,600 feet. Temperature -6 Celsius, -12 on the dew point, and the altimeter 3019. And that forecast came out about a half hour or so ago. And what we're looking at in the future, 130 at 6 on the winds, 6 miles visibility, and light snow broken at 4,000. We'll see if that translates out. But right now, current weather 090 at 6, overcast 2,600 feet with 10-mile visibility. Kansas City's airport is situated 1,027 feet above sea level. Runway 9 has a heading of 94094 degrees. Now the ILS frequency is 109.7, identified by India, Romeo, November, India. Localizer course, same as runway heading, 94 degrees. Glide slope is pretty standard, 3 degrees, and it's 9,501 feet. Man, it tripped my eyes out. I thought it was saying we only got 950 feet to land on. I was like, oh, we're on the definitely wrong runway, but missed that one at the end there. Really hard to see. So let's go back now to the live map, see where we're at. Give it a second to reset. There it is. And according to that trip log, we were about halfway or so there. Now for the ILS, the ATIS is 128,375. If anything comes up with Kansas City, the approach is 120.95. The tower 128.2. Ground 121.8. For the information on the ILS itself, again, the localizer is 109.7, identified India, Romeo, November, India. The approach course 094, and we should be on the glide slope by JBA. We'll look at the map here to find that at 2,600 feet or on glide slope. Decision altitude is 1,265 feet above sea level, which translates out to 250 feet above the ground. Again, airport elevation, 1026 feet above sea level. Our touchdown zone on runway 9 is at 1015 feet above sea level. Yes. Sorry for having to clear my throat there. All right, so the missed approach procedure, should we have to do it, and I really hope to not, we'll climb to 4,000 on 089 from the MCI VOR to Limes, which is the intersection at a distance 29.2 from MCI VOR, and we're going to hold until as directed by the ATC. Stand by and disregard. And the transition level, like all U.S. and North American airports, is 18,000. You find that right in this strip. Now, here's where we're going to come in at. Maxi, track in on the localizer to Wookie, to Joey, Jaba, which is what was up here for the where we should be on the glide slope, and into the runway then. That is also, just so you know, Jaba is 6.5 miles from the localizer array. Final things on this chart we're going to concern ourselves with. This is our descent, so we need to be at or above 6,000 or at 6,000 feet, descending to 5,000, 4,000, 3,000 to 2,600 feet. So we're going to come in at 6,000 feet here, descend our way down to 3,000 and meeting these restrictions so that we're on the glide slope by Jaba. And at that point, we're headed into the airport. Now, the next group here on this chart, the biggest thing, now this is going to tell you, if you're tracking across the ground, approximately how long it takes to go from the missed approach at 1.7 or Jaba to missed approach. Meaning to go from Jaba, which is here, missed approach, which is here, and actually it looks like it's a little further back, but it's going to take a minute or 2 minutes depending on our arrival speed. Okay, continuing on that line, we have a Mauser approach lighting system, and it doesn't tell us if we have PAPI or VATSIM, so we may not have any. So we'll play it by ear on coming in. Here's our missed approach procedure one more time. It's 4,000 feet on MCI, which is a frequency of 113.25. We're going to track out on the radial 89 out to Limes and hold, just like the missed approach set up there, and await ATC unless there is no ATC. All right, folks, that wraps up the chart here. Once we land on this 9,500 foot, we're probably going to get off at C Charlie 3, possibly Echo. I foresee I go long, and possibly Charlie 1, and we'll taxi our way back to Charlie 6 or Juliet. We're heading for gate 78 right here. So we come in on Kilo, or we come in Charlie 6 taxi to gate 78 and head into parking. I don't know what the outlines mean. Maybe they have something telling us. They don't say. Don't know what the outlines mean. Normally they have, doesn't say anything on the chart. But anyway, that's where our goal is one of these three gates. And folks, that is going to wrap up the arrival brief for an arrival speed. I'm going to bring it down at 160. And then once we hit Jaba, slow up to 150. I'm going to plan 140 for our touchdown. Let me see if I have anything on this checklist with speeds for landing. I'm not seeing anything real quick. Yeah, doesn't say anything at all. So that's what I'm going to game plan. We're going to fly in from, oh, we'll come in at like 210 till we get to, let me pull it up here so I say it right. Come on, chart. To Maxee, M-A-X-E-E. And then we're going to be slowing down to 160 all the way down to Joey, and then 150 here at Jaba. And then as we get near the VOR, near the localizer, we'll go to 140 for touchdown. Any questions? If not, we're going to resume our flight and join you at top of descent. All right, folks, I'm back with you. I just noticed some volumes not working, so bear with me a second. See if I can get them back up and running. Oh, this is... Huh, I'm not sure why they all of a sudden stopped. That is very weird. Okay, so we are right now about 125 miles out of top of descent, and I will continue to work this issue till we get on the descent. See you then. All right, folks, we're back. We're 35 miles out of the top of descent. We're going to descend down to 6,000 here. So we're going to set this up here. Still have no ATC. Okay, we're set for 6,000. Now the descent will be at, let's see, 0.74 until we reach 290, and then we'll let it take over. All right. So if the music's too loud, we'll find out here in the replay. But I think we got it at a good level for us. And we're going to begin looking at bringing the plane down when just about 9 to 10 miles. Okay, top of descent shows here. And that puts us 148 miles out. And as you can see, looks like we may have a night landing in our foray. So one last look outside the aircraft. See that beautiful sunset behind us. And then get those beautiful colors up against the plane. Actually, the sun's now gotten too low for that. Alright, so but we can see the Eskimo on the tail, trademark of Alaska. Oh, wait. Thought I saw some good looking colors there. Hang on, let me try again. Oh yeah, look at those beautiful colors. We'll just take a screenshot, and now we are 20 miles out. We're going to try just simply seeing if that'll get us to start our descent. And it is. And at the same time, we'll slow to 0.74. And that is currently showing up as about 250, but that'll increase as we descend. Descent checklist. Approach briefing, we've already gone through. Seatbelts need to come on. So we'll go ahead and turn those on. And no electronics, no smoking. Now, because of the forecasted snow, I've gone ahead and turned on our wing ice as well to be safe. Engine ice is still on. Anti-fog and anti-ice for the windshield is on as well. At transition level, we'll set to local. We have the hydraulic pumps on, and our anti-ice, like I said, is set. At 10,000 feet, we'll turn on the landing lights. Whoops. Right here. And we might even bring the wing lights on once we get into the clouds. Comms are going to get set right now. Excuse me for that. I didn't mean to burp in your ear. So the ILS is 1097. And 94, I believe. Yep. Okay. And 70. All right, so we got them both set up. Granted, we're only going to need to use one. And we'll use VOR lock to get us on the localizer. ILS for the glide slope. No, we're not doing an auto land. I don't think this plane's going to look pretty doing it. I'm not sure I'm going to look pretty doing it. Current weather, however, in good old KC. Bring that up. Move that over. Okay, weather as of 23:53, which is about 10 to 20 minutes old. 107 for the winds, light snow, overcast 2,600 feet, -6 for the temperature, -11 on the dew point, 10 miles of visibility, 3022 for our altimeter. So everything looks good for hopefully a decent arrival. We will find out here shortly. Hang on, there it goes. Okay, and like I said, we are transitioning into nighttime here, so that's going to add another challenge to my landing. I don't do well at night, so especially if I don't have PAPIs or VATSIMs, we'll be heavily relying on what we get off the ILS, hopefully. Sometimes we don't get a glide slope, and that makes me nervous. My fallback plan, if that happens, since we're 17 miles out, I'll turn KVOC on. That is my fallback, though. I'm hoping to not have to do that. I've only had to do that. Oh, we're above 290, so we'll switch. Okay, so that should help us to descend at the right speed as soon as it sets in. Very close to 290 right now. There she goes, beginning her descent again. We'll keep an eye on this. Matter of fact, I am going to go ahead. Okay, so it is being a little stubborn. Maxi, M-A-X-E-E. Okay. M-A-X-E. It's not letting me put it in. Okay, so we're heading. Let's try it one more time. Okay, so that's going to put us in even closer. Joey is 7 mile final. 3,000 feet, that's what we're going to set for. I think I was on the wrong page. There we go. All right. That's a lot better. Okay, so we are now set. Whoa. We are going to need to hold up at 11. Wasn't expecting us to get down that far that quick. Actually, it might be okay. Let's get it down to 6. So let's do 8 for now. See how she's doing. Okay, there's 12,000. All right, so let's go back up top here. First thing I'm turning on are the wing lights. Let's look outside. Should see them there. And there. Okay. Seatbelts and fastened seatbelts are on. Comms are now tuned. ATIS is tuned. I'm sorry. Descent looks good. ILS. Just making sure everything's lined up right. Okay, 9 miles to Judah and then 24 to Maxi. Okay. Okay, as we decelerate. Into the clouds we go. Now folks, at this point, if the strobes start driving you nuts, which they could, turn them off. Best thing you could do to help you out to get in safely. They are actually not helping anyone to see you. Obviously you're in the clouds. Okay. We are still 23 miles. There they go. See how they're an annoyance? And that turns them off. See if it holds up at 8,000. That's what we're hoping for. Because we still, according to this, we're 124 out. Jason is 19. Judah is 28 from our location. So, it looks like it is going to hold. That's good. We'll keep it here at 240. Actually, yeah, 240 is good. Legs. Once we cross Judah, I'll head, well, we're only 2,000 feet ahead, so we're good at this level. And if this music is starting to get annoying, all right. All right, so she's climbing back up, which is fine, as long as she holds at 8,000. All right, folks, in that little intermission, if you are liking what you've seen here on this, mind you, this is the first time I've actually tried using my OBS streaming software as also a sort of editing tool where I'm pausing it for times to allow the time to expire till we get to the next scenes that we want to do. So let me know what you think. This is a new way of doing things, and they're always, you never know. You know, those, you never know what people think. So please leave a comment, drop a comment, say hi, how are you, where you're from. Be advised that we are on Twitch as well. I'll have that information in the comment section or in the stream section so you know how to follow us. As well as I'll try and break this down so you can kind of get where you want to go to see what's going on. Across the top, you're seeing an overlay that gives you basically where we are, where we're going to, call signs, how long left to go, speeds, and all of that. That won't be there very much longer on the flight. I do plan to take that away to give you a full, panoramic as much as you can from my cockpit seat, since the pilots only get that on a heads-up display. So, but yeah, we're cruising our way in. We're out of the first layer of clouds here at 8,000. Not sure what we're over here out in farm country of Kansas, but we are working our way into Kansas City. I think I saw close to 11 minutes. Put it up to 20. We should be on the ground looking for a parking spot. We're on top of a layer of clouds, by the way, and it would not surprise me if right out here in the distance, now the clouds got in the way, cars, I'm going to show something. But anyway, I think out in the distance no, it wouldn't have been. I would have been wrong. Might have been St. Joe. But we're going to be turning here shortly to go south-ish, then a little further south to grab the runway 9 approach. And then from Judah, which is where our next turn point here is on the display, we head to Maxi 17-mile final for runway 9 at Kansas City. About 10-15 miles out, we'll go ahead and drop in on 6,000 and hope for the best in grabbing the localizer. Whoops, my bad. Thought I was turning the heading and turning this. Really hate X-plane for that sometimes. Okay, there we go. Okay, folks, I'm going to put us on a short pause. I got to check something out in the house. We'll be right back. Okay, folks, we're back with you. Sorry for that delay. My daughter thought she smelled gas. She meant gasoline, not gas from our furnace, which is the only thing in the house gas powered, or natural gas, I should say. All right, so we're going to begin our final descent and slow to 220 at top of it. And let me make sure my heading's good. Hang on here. Okay, we are beginning our descent. Okay, so approach, final checks, comm set, ILS tuned. ILS will arm here momentarily. Frequencies are correct. We'll go ahead and turn the nose light on. Approach and landing, no smoking. We'll recycle it one more time. Okay. We're slowing. Speed brakes will go into arm here shortly. ILS tuned. Localizer glide slope. All right. Okay, we're leveling off, and I am going to go ahead and take us to 210. Okay, localizer's armed. Glide slope is alive, and it's continuing down. All right, hang on a second, folks. Slight climb back up to 6,000. I love when she starts porpoising. Okay, and we've got the localizer. Oh, come on, plane. Yeah, I know. I've just pushed some G's. Gosh dang it. Oh, great. Our airspeed is like through the roof. Okay, this may actually turn into a go-around. Okay, what we're going to do here, folks, just figured out a lot of things that were going wrong. What we're going to actually do is come back to a heading select. As we slow, what I'm going to do is re-enter at maxi. Can't be climbing. Okay, there's coming down into 240. Okay, so we're going to reset. Oh, that's not the direction you're supposed to go. Okay. Not sure why we're not getting a speed to take here. Okay. We're going to do the best we can here. We had the speed brakes out. That's what was holding us up. Get out here back to maxi. We'll try it again. Okay, and see if we can't get this booger to level off like it's supposed to. All right, so we're holding at 210, getting back up to 6,000. Okay. Once that localizer comes alive, oh, we got a localizer fail now. Hopefully it'll come alive. Otherwise, we'll track the line down. Do our best. There we go. Slowing back down to 210. Okay, there we are. So let's get some speed in. I'm going to go ahead and knock a notch of flaps in. Okay. There it goes down again. Okay, folks. Okay, there's our roll. Gear out. Oh, well, let's slow a little more. Now we're going down to 160. Okay. All right now I have the runway in sight. Second notch of flaps coming in. And see if it corrects. Okay, we're going to go ahead, take over. Another notch of flaps. Make sure the speed brake's armed. Okay, we got the plane. Kansas City traffic, Sim Air Force 18, final runway 9, gear down. Okay, power all the way back. Trying to get on glide path here. Oh, don't give me clouds. Don't give me clouds. Okay. Okay. Little fast, but that's okay. All right, folks, welcome to the airport. Uh-oh. Yeah, look what I forgot to put down. All right, folks. Well, you got to see a gear up landing. Call the fire trucks out. We're at the end of the runway, shutting her down. Oh, that's hilarious. No, it's not really, folks. But, well, we've landed. All right, well, crap. That wasn't how I wanted the second one to end, but all right, we have got that one filed. I swore I hit the landing gear down and it did not move, but that's what I get for not looking for 3 green right before touchdown. All right, well, folks, that is a wrap on this flight. Ended with a even hovered trying to get the gear to come down, and well, it didn't. All right, folks, so that's going to be a wrap. We thank you kindly for joining us, and as we go out with the music behind us, we hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday and into Wednesday. So we will see you all Thursday or Friday.